Introduction. There are no accidents. Even the sound of your name was never random. Pause for a moment. Let those words settle. Have you ever wondered why your name begins with the letter it does? Why that letter, of all the possibilities? In the quiet spaces of ancient wisdom, Buddhist teachings invite us to look deeper, not just at the world around us, but at the subtle signs within. And yes, even something as simple as the first letter of your name holds energy, meaning, and purpose. In Buddhism, the world is seen not as a collection of coincidences, but as a flowing web of cause and effect, karma, guided by intention and vibration. This includes sound, this includes language, and yes, this includes your name. The sound of the first letter of your name carries a frequency. That frequency resonates with certain qualities: patience, strength, clarity, wisdom, love, or even hidden karmic lessons. And when we begin to understand this, we begin to understand ourselves in a deeper, more peaceful way. This isn't fortune telling, this is awareness. This is about learning to listen to the quiet truths that already exist within you. In today's journey, we will gently walk through the hidden meanings behind the first letter of your name, not through superstition, but through spiritual reflection rooted in Buddhist inspired wisdom. Each letter reveals not just personality, but a kind of spiritual invitation, a lesson your soul may be ready for. So, as you listen, allow your heart to stay open. You may find clarity, you may feel surprised, you may even feel seen. This is not just about letters, this is about you. Let's begin. 1. The power hidden in letters. We often pass by words without thinking about the shapes or sounds they're made of. A name is something we say countless times, yet rarely do we stop to feel it, to truly feel what it means. In many spiritual traditions, including certain Buddhist lineages, letters and sounds are not just tools of language, they are gentle carriers of energy. Each letter is like a small doorway, not loud, not forceful, but quietly waiting to be noticed. The first letter of your name is especially meaningful. It sets a tone like the opening note of a piece of music. Imagine someone named Lila. The L that begins her name has a soft curve to it, both in sound and shape. It moves gently off the tongue. People often describe Lila as graceful, warm, and thoughtful. It's not just coincidence, it's resonance. When we speak, we are creating vibration. And vibration is not just heard, it is felt. In Buddhist thought, sound carries the quality of intention. A mantra is not powerful because of its volume, but because of its purpose. The same can be said for the sound at the beginning of your name. It marks how your presence enters a space, how your energy begins. Letters have been used in sacred chants, protective prayers, and healing rituals for centuries. The ancient Sanskrit alphabet, for example, is believed to reflect specific energies in the body and mind. Though we may use different letters today, the principle remains: sound has meaning beyond the surface. Think back to when someone first said your name with love, or when someone called it softly in a quiet moment. That sound entered the space between you, and something was felt. There is a kind of wisdom in paying attention to the simple things we overlook. The first letter of your name is one of them. It has been with you since your beginning. It holds a pattern, a rhythm, a signature of how you move through the world, not in a fixed or rigid way, but like a soft imprint on water. Let yourself become curious, not analytical. What does that first sound carry? And what might it be gently teaching you? 2. Sound as sacred vibration. Before there were words, there was sound. And before sound, there was silence, the kind of deep silence that holds everything within it. In Buddhist teachings, sound is not just a tool for communication, but a path to presence, a vibration that touches the stillness of the moment. Every sound you make begins somewhere deep within you. It passes through breath, through body, and then into the world. This is not something we often notice, but when we do, it changes the way we listen to others, and to ourselves. When a name is spoken, even softly, it stirs energy. It calls something forward. The first letter of your name is the very beginning of that movement, and that sound carries a vibration, whether it's the hum of an M, the crispness of a K, or the open breath of an A. In many temples, monks chant not just to pray, but to tune the body and mind to a deeper frequency. The vibrations created in these chants are said to align with the natural rhythm of the universe. This isn't just symbolic, it's felt. The body responds, the breath slows, the mind softens. And though your name may not be a mantra in the traditional sense, it is still a repeated sound, a sacred one in its own quiet way. Think of how often your name has been spoken by friends, by family, even by your own inner voice. That sound has followed you. It's shaped how you see yourself, how others feel when they say it, how your presence touches the space around you. There's a story of a teacher who told his students to chant their own names softly during meditation. At first, they felt silly, but over time, the sound of their names began to feel different, less like a label and more like a thread connecting them to something ancient, something alive. Your name, and especially its first sound, is not random. It carries part of your spiritual fingerprint, not as something fixed, but as something alive and shifting, just like you. So when we explore the meaning of your name's first letter, we're not looking for rigid answers. We're listening for a vibration that has always been speaking to you. 3. The letter A, beginnings and intention. The letter A carries with it the quiet echo of beginnings. It is the first, the origin, the opening of a path not yet walked. In Buddhist thought, beginnings are not merely moments in time, they are invitations. The start of anything holds great energy, and how we step into that beginning often shapes what follows. A is not loud, it doesn't demand attention, yet it holds presence. It rises from stillness like the breath before a word. Those whose names begin with A often carry this energy of origin, of being naturally drawn to start, to lead, to form a path where there wasn't one before, not from ego, but from a deeper pull toward clarity. This letter invites awareness. It asks, what is your true intention? In Buddhism, intention is everything. It is the seed from which karma grows. To move forward without pausing to ask why is to walk without direction. Reminds us to pause, not out of hesitation, but out of respect for the path ahead. There's a quiet discipline in beginning well. It requires presence, honesty, and a willingness to be open. Just as the letter A opens the alphabet, it symbolizes the openness of heart and mind, a kind of inner readiness, a whisper that says, be here now, begin with care. And yet, the energy of A is not hurried, it does not rush into things. True beginnings are not rushed, they unfold. Like the first light of morning, they arrive gradually, gently guiding us into the day. Spiritually, this letter asks us to consider the tone we set when we enter a space, start a project, or speak to someone new. Is there intention behind it? Is there kindness? Is there stillness? If A is the first letter of your name, you may feel this draw toward newness, not just in what you do, but in how you perceive. There may be a natural curiosity, a quiet courage to step forward before the path is fully known, and beneath it all, a calling to begin not from pressure, but from purpose. Let A remind you that every moment offers a beginning, and every beginning, when met with awareness, is a sacred act. 4. The letter B, quiet strength. The letter B carries a softness at first glance, but beneath that softness is a steady strength. It doesn't shout to be seen, it doesn't force its way forward. B is the energy of holding, of being present, of carrying others quietly without asking for recognition. In spiritual life, strength is not measured by how much noise we make, but by how deeply we can remain rooted in ourselves, especially when the world is moving fast around us. B reflects this kind of strength, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that endures. Those whose names begin with B often carry a gentle power. They may be protectors, supporters, nurturers, but sometimes this can become a heavy burden. Without noticing, they give and give until they are emptied. They carry others' emotions, responsibilities, even silence, believing it is their role to hold everything together. Here, the teaching becomes clear. Quiet strength must be balanced with self awareness. Many of us, whether or not we bear the letter B, fall into patterns of over carrying. We think we're being helpful by staying silent, by avoiding conflict, by keeping the peace at the cost of our own voice. But in Buddhism, this is not true peace. True peace includes truth. True compassion includes oneself. The path of B is not to stop giving, but to give from a place of fullness, to remember that you too are worthy of rest, care, and stillness. There is no need to carry everything. In fact, sometimes the most loving thing we can do for others and ourselves is to let go. Spiritually, B asks us to examine where we are quietly holding too much. Where are we storing old pain, old responsibilities, old expectations? And why do we think we must? The world does not need more silent suffering. It needs conscious compassion, compassion that includes space to breathe. If B is the first letter of your name, allow yourself to feel its message. You are strong, yes, but your strength is not your silence. Your strength is your presence. And your presence becomes more whole when you care for your own heart too. Let B remind you it is okay to rest. Even strong hands need to open sometimes. 5. The letter C, flow and curiosity. The letter C opens like a half circle, receptive, flowing, incomplete in a beautiful way. It doesn't try to close itself, it leaves space. And in that space, something important happens. Curiosity is born. C carries the energy of movement, not in haste, but in exploration. In Buddhist thought, the mind is often compared to water. When it is still, it reflects truth. When it flows, it seeks. The letter C reflects this balance between seeking and sensing. It teaches us to stay open without becoming lost. Those whose names begin with C often carry a natural interest in the world around them. They ask questions, not always out loud, but inwardly. There's a quiet wondering, a desire to understand. But sometimes this curiosity can turn into restlessness. We begin to search for meaning in places where it cannot be found, in distractions, in constant change, in outer things. This is where the spiritual reminder comes in. Curiosity must be guided inward as well. The world is full of paths. It's easy to get caught chasing one after another, thinking the next one will be it. But as the Buddha gently taught, the answers we truly seek do not live in the next thing. They live in our awareness of this moment. C reminds us to flow, but not to drift, to explore, but also to pause, to notice the beauty in not always knowing. There is wisdom in allowing life to unfold without trying to grasp it too tightly. Like a stream, curiosity must have space to move, but also something solid to return to. There is nothing wrong with wondering. In fact, it is sacred. But we must also ask, am I curious in a way that brings me closer to truth, or am I just avoiding stillness? If C begins your name, there may be a quiet invitation in your life to keep asking, but to listen more deeply, not just to the world, but to your own breath, your own knowing. Let curiosity become a spiritual practice, not a distraction. C teaches that life doesn't have to be figured out all at once. It just needs to be felt honestly, one breath at a time. Let yourself stay open. Let yourself flow. 6. The letter D, grounding and patience. The letter D feels steady, solid. It begins with a firm line, then curves gently outward like a shelter or an open gate. There is something grounding about it, something that brings us back to the earth, to the body, to the present moment. In spiritual life, grounding is essential. Without it, we float through our days, pulled by emotions, overwhelmed by change. Grounding doesn't mean becoming heavy, it means becoming real. It means standing where you are, fully, without running from discomfort or chasing after what isn't here yet. D carries this energy of stability. It reminds us of the strength found in patience, of the quiet power in not rushing, of the wisdom that comes when we allow things to unfold in their own time. We live in a world that often celebrates speed, quick answers, fast progress, instant results. But the deeper teachings remind us not everything sacred can be hurried. Some things need time, roots don't grow overnight, healing does not arrive on a schedule, and peace comes not from pushing, but from allowing. Those who carry the letter D at the start of their name may feel a natural pull toward being dependable, strong, or even protective. There's often a desire to do things right, to build something lasting, but sometimes this can turn into pressure, a heaviness, a silent belief that they must hold everything together all the time. Spiritually, D invites a deeper trust, not just in yourself, but in the process. You don't have to force every outcome. You don't have to carry every load. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to breathe. Patience is not passivity. It is strength in stillness. It is the courage to sit with what is, even when it's uncertain or uncomfortable. And in that sitting, something profound begins to rise: clarity, acceptance, a deeper sense of knowing. If D is the first letter of your name, let it remind you that you are not behind. You are not late. Life is not a race. There is wisdom in slowing down. There is beauty in taking your time. Let yourself be grounded. Let yourself trust the timing of your path. 7. The letter E, openness and change. The letter E feels like a breath of fresh air, open, light, and full of possibility. Its shape extends outward in three directions, as if reaching towards something unseen. In this way, E holds the energy of expansion. It teaches us how to stay open, even when life asks us to change. In Buddhist wisdom, the only thing we can truly count on is change. Everything shifts, everything moves, and yet many of us resist this truth. We hold on tightly to what feels familiar, even when it no longer brings peace. The letter E invites us to soften that grip, to allow life to move through us without fear. Openness does not mean weakness. It is not about being passive or uncertain. True openness is a quiet strength. It is the ability to stay present with what is real, even when that reality asks us to grow. If E begins your name, you may feel a natural pull toward movement, toward ideas, experiences, conversations, and transformation. But sometimes this openness can turn into restlessness or overwhelm. We try to say yes to everything, hoping we won't miss the right path. Spiritually, the lesson is to let change come without losing your center, to remain open but rooted. E teaches us to ask, can I allow life to shift around me without needing to control it? Can I stay soft even when things feel uncertain? There is deep wisdom in letting go of what no longer fits. Just as trees release their leaves when the season turns, we too are invited to release old versions of ourselves, not in a dramatic way, but in a natural one, quiet, gentle, clear. The energy of E is not about escape, it's about evolution. You don't need to become someone else. You are simply unfolding, becoming, remembering who you already are beneath the layers of fear and expectation. Let E remind you that change is not the enemy, it is the path. And when we meet change with presence, something beautiful opens: freedom. Let yourself expand. Let yourself be moved by what is real. 8. The letter F, compassion in action. The letter F carries a quiet sense of purpose. Its form stands tall, reaching out with steady arms, as if offering something to the world. It is not showy, but it is clear. It gives, it extends, it participates. Spiritually, F carries the energy of compassion, not as a feeling, but as a way of being. In many Buddhist teachings, compassion is not just an emotion we hold inside. It is something we do. It is the way we meet others in their pain, their joy, their confusion, with a steady heart and gentle hands. But true compassion requires more than kindness, it requires presence. It asks that we slow down enough to actually see what is in front of us. It means staying close to discomfort, not turning away from it. It means loving even when there is nothing to gain. The energy of F is often drawn to service, to helping, to healing. If F begins your name, you may find yourself naturally offering care to others, whether through words, actions, or simply your quiet presence. But this openness can also lead to fatigue, especially if your compassion forgets to include yourself. Many people fall into this, giving to everyone else while leaving their own needs untouched. They offer their time, their patience, their energy until they're running on empty, unsure how they got there. F reminds us that compassion is not a performance. It is not something we owe. It is a sacred exchange, one that must flow in both directions: giving and receiving, speaking and listening, holding and being held. There's a softness to this letter, but also a firmness. It tells us, be kind, but also be clear. Boundaries are part of compassion too. Saying no when needed, resting when tired, stepping back when your spirit feels worn. In the stillness of a mindful life, compassion is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply the way you pour tea for someone, the way you pause before reacting, the way you breathe before speaking. Let the energy of F remind you that love lives in the smallest acts, and the most powerful form of compassion is often the quietest. Let yourself give gently, and let yourself receive with grace. 9. The letter G, inner wisdom. The letter G curls inward, like a spiral returning to its center. It doesn't stretch outward the way some letters do. It turns in, circles back, and holds something quietly within. Spiritually, this motion speaks of inner wisdom, a knowing that doesn't need to be loud to be true. In Buddhism, wisdom is not about gathering facts or learning more. It's about seeing clearly. It comes from stillness, from reflection, from learning to look within instead of always looking out. The energy of G carries this inward gaze. It teaches that truth doesn't always shout, it often whispers. Many people search for guidance in the world around them. They look for signs, for voices, for answers that will tell them who to be or what to do. But G reminds us that some of the most important answers already live inside us, beneath the noise, beneath the doubts, in that quiet place you visit when the world has gone still. If G begins your name, you may feel this natural draw inward at times, a desire to reflect, to understand, to ask deeper questions. Others might see you as thoughtful, even quiet, but your stillness is not emptiness, it is listening, and that listening holds great power. But like all things, even inner wisdom must be tended to with care. Sometimes the inward pull becomes too strong. We close ourselves off, mistake silence for isolation, or stay lost in thought when presence is needed. This is where the teaching gently nudges us. Wisdom must be shared to be lived. It must be brought into the world, even if only through small mindful actions. The path of G is about trusting what you feel deep down and having the quiet confidence to honor it, not with force, not with certainty, but with humility, the kind that bows to the moment, even as it seeks to understand it. There is no rush. Inner wisdom does not arrive all at once. It unfolds slowly, like petals opening in the morning light. Let yourself be patient with it. Let G remind you that your knowing is already here, and when you slow down enough to listen, it speaks. Let yourself trust what's within. Let it guide you gently forward. 10. The letter H, breath and balance. The letter H stands like a bridge, two grounded lines connected by a gentle middle. It is open yet balanced, spacious yet steady. In this quiet form, H offers a simple yet profound teaching: the importance of breath and the power of balance. In Buddhist practice, everything begins with the breath. It is the gateway to presence, the rhythm that carries us through every moment without asking for attention. When we return to our breath, we return to ourselves. We come back to what is real. H reflects this sacred rhythm. It reminds us to inhale and exhale, not just with our lungs, but with our entire lives, to take in what nourishes and to let go of what no longer serves, to find a middle path between effort and ease, doing and being, holding on and releasing. Many of us live in imbalance without realizing it. We push too hard, we give too much, we forget to pause, we forget to breathe. But balance is not found in extremes. It lives in the quiet center, in that small, sacred space between action and stillness. If your name begins with H, you may carry an energy that naturally seeks harmony. You might be drawn to calm, to clarity, to helping others find steadiness in themselves, but at times you may also feel pulled in different directions, torn between being present for others and staying connected to yourself. This is the quiet teaching of H. Harmony does not come from keeping everything in control. It comes from aligning with your own breath, from remembering that balance is not something to achieve once and for all. It's something you practice, moment by moment. Spiritually, H asks, where in your life do you need to pause? Where are you holding your breath, hoping things will settle? And how might you return to balance gently without needing to fix everything? Let H remind you that breath is sacred, that stillness is powerful, that you are allowed to slow down. There is wisdom in the space between, and peace when we remember how to live there. Let yourself soften. Let yourself breathe. What if the first letter of your name isn't random, but a quiet echo from before you were born? A symbol chosen not by chance, but by soul, whispering the path you're here to walk again and again. These letters are not rules, but mirrors. They don't define you, but they might remind you. So take a breath and tell me, did any part of this feel like it was written just for you? I'd love to read your reflections, your questions, or simply your presence in the comments below. Let's continue this quiet conversation together.